Hello, and welcome to my painting, the painting of the Tower of Chochís. The initial concept of this video was to document as I paint. Well, that concept changed. I have created a time lapse of that process. The painting took 5 sittings, average between 3 to 4 hours per sitting, so you're looking at 15 to 20 hours worth of footage, which is just not realistic to make a YouTube video. I normally work 3 to 4 hours a day per sitting, and then I just leave it alone. I turn off the light, go do other things in life, come back the next day with a fresh cup of coffee and analyze a painting and see what is working, what is not working. So and that's how it worked. It would have been impossible to be able to do a video of me painting. Since that changed, what I decided to do is to divide this video into 5 segments. The first segment is the introduction, which I'm doing now. The second segment will be about Chochís, brief explanation of this place. I think we'll give you also a background on this painting. The third one will be about the brushes, tools that I use, why I use them, how I use them. The fourth segment will be, we have an update on this painting, which is interesting. And the last segment will be the time lapse. So I will timestamp this video so you can bypass whatever might not be of interest to you, okay? So let's go to the second segment and talk a little bit about this place called Chochís. Chochís is a valley located in the Chiquitania area of Santa Cruz, Bolivia, where I now live. It's a very beautiful, extensive valley, lush, surrounded by cliffs with a plateau. It's a very green, pristine valley. And out of this valley comes this tower. It's a rock formation, which is called the Tower of Chochís. In the native language I've read, I believe it means the fury of the wind, which is also a fantastic name. I was in Chochís 4 years ago, and by accident, good accident, not by design, I was there about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and it was a perfect time, what we call in photography the golden hour. Also in painting, we had fantastic deep shadows, midtones, highlights, reflection of the sun, because at that time the sun was behind me, the sunset was in back of me, but we had a reflection of all that into this valley, the tower, and the mountains. I had a drone at the time, and I took a flight around the Tower of Chochís. As a matter of fact, here are image from that flight, which I utilized. This is the Tower of Chochís. These are the surrounding mountains. And I utilize this as reference, the proportions, etc. So, like I said, I was awestruck. And in essence, what I want to capture was the reflection of a sunset. The sky is my doing. The sky, I created the sky. And I also did a little bit of editing as far as the mountain because the angle I liked from the drone flight was this angle. And there were no mountains around where this angle is at. So I brought in some mountains just to give it a better perspective and kind of create what I felt when I was there. Okay, that gives you an idea of what Chochís is. Now let's talk about the tools, the brushes, the tools, and to be able to paint this painting. Brushes and tools. Briefly, the main brushes I use are these two brushes. These are common brushes you buy at a hardware store or a box store for painting trims, painting walls, painting ceilings, the inexpensive kind. I saw someone using this a while back. I said, oh, that's interesting. So now that I'm painting landscapes, especially this size paintings, these have become fundamental. I have other ones that are much more expensive. They're made for fine art painting. But the more I use these, the more I like what I'm doing now. Okay, they're very tough brushes. I tend to be in this phase of what I'm doing now in landscapes. I am forceful with the brush. I do put up the work, and this hold up very well. Only drawback with these brushes are that because they are inexpensive, they shed hairs. So that was always a problem. But I found a good solution for that, which I wish I would have found earlier in other paintings, and it's a flashlight. After a while, I turn off the light, look for hairs, I find them. The painting is finished, not one hair. It was a good solution. The other two brushes I use are these. These are the fan brushes. I bought these a while back when I was in my abstract phase. Never used them for that. I didn't find a use for these. But now that I'm doing landscapes, these have become powerful tools for me. All the texture that I want to capture, especially the foliage, the differences, the contrast, the deep shadows and highlights and midtones, these were instrumental. So these were instrumental in painting the Tower of Chochís. The other brushes I used are these brushes. These are Japanese brushes. They're very delicate. I'm not sure what they're called, but because they're delicate, I use them in the sky. I feather with these, and they work fantastically. Of course, I have problems with hairs a little bit, but I can feather clouds. I can feather subtle changes in color in the sky. So these have been instrumental, and that's as far as the brushes. But on the side note, I bought these brushes for another process years ago when I lived in the U.S. I used them to paint with clay, with the slip, which is liquefied clay. You add colors, and then there's a process where you transfer that into a matrix of clay and pull a monoprint. If you're interested in seeing that process, I'll put a link to my YouTube channel, and I have 2 videos as to how this works. The other tools are these 2. The palette knives, great for crisp lines. All the rock formations in the painting were painted with these. Not one brush. These were the fundamental tools to use for that. You can get really good rock texture, which is exactly what we wanted to do. So these were great. The other tool before I get to this one, are the fingers. I utilize my fingers, and especially in the sky. And these are great because they're here. I don't lose them and they're free. The other tool, I call it a tool, it is a paper towel. Paper towels, I use them two ways. Oh, by the way, well, obviously for cleaning brushes and cleaning the mess, these come in handy. But I also use them, and by the way, when I clean my brushes, I do not use solvents. Hazard to the health and obviously hazard to the environment. So I don't use solvents. I just use the paper towel and take as much as I can of the paint off the brush. And if it's a little bit behind residue for the next color, I don't really mind. Unless it's a huge change, then I just use another brush. The other use for the paper towel is when I have an area that's wet, because oil doesn't dry fast, I just scrape off that area. Especially if it's a darker area and I want to put a lighter color, I just scrape that off and put the lighter color. It works most of the time. The other use for the paper towel, it's a brush. I get some interesting patterns, shapes. And I've used it in this painting in the shadow areas, in some areas, not extensively. It's very subtle, but they work. And that's another tool. In essence, painting is creating an illusion, and whatever tools you can use to create that illusion, I think are valid. The other tool, I can't show you. The other tool is music. Yes. It's music. I consider music a tool. To give you an example, a while back I painted an ocean scene, which you see it now. For that painting, also a large format, I had sounds of waves crashing into rocks, and that was probably, I think 6 or 7 days of painting. And I can tell you, without question, that the painting came out better because of that. Just listening to the waves while I painting that particular painting was really an experience, and that's why I consider music a tool. For this painting, I was listening to what they call Chiquitania Baroque. This whole area of Chiquitania was influenced by Jesuit priests back in the 1700s, and they brought their music with them, European composers. So this music is a combination of violins and the local instruments. It's fantastic. So I use that as my tool, my inspirational tool for this painting. Okay, that takes care of tools. Now let me give you an update. There's an interesting update because of this painting. We have 2 more paintings, commission paintings, also large format, that I need to do. One will be a landscape, which is fantastic. I love that. And the other one is not hasn't been decided yet. But it won't be a landscape. It'll be something else. But I'm sure it will be fun to paint. Aside from those paintings, I plan to paint at least 2 to 3 paintings a month. I think I can. And I'm going to document those paintings as well. So if you want to see those, please subscribe and put the alarm bell on so you get notified when the next painting comes out. And if you can, please like and comment. Apparently that does wonders for this algorithm mysterious thing YouTube has. since I'm new at this voyage, I'm learning about this stuff. So I would appreciate that. Okay, now let's talk about the time lapse. Time lapse. My apologies. I screwed up. Normally when I paint, painting this size especially, normally when I always paint something, but something this size in a commission painting, I do sketches. I do sketches on as many as I need to get the composition that I like. Once those sketches are done, and once I have the one I like, I transfer that sketch to the canvas. Well, and I normally use a pencil or more often than not a thin brush, such as this one or whatever color is available. And I sketch shadows, clouds, horizon, where the rocks are going to be in this painting, etc. And once the sketch is done and I like what I have, then I start painting. And normally I start with the sky. Well, I got so caught up in that initial process and that everything was going well. The sky was coming out as I wanted to come out. It was a reflection of the sunset. The sky was my creation. And I got caught up in it. And I totally forgot to document that part, that phase. I apologize. I just totally forgot, and that's the truth. After about 3 or 4 hours, I said, okay, that's enough for today. I was happy. I turned off the lights and was out of my way. Next day, walk in with my cup of coffee, and here's the camera staring at me. Then I remembered that I should have documented that process. Again, my apologies. I will try not to let that happen again. So in the time lapse, you're going to start seeing the time lapse from the second day on. But it should give you a good idea how the painting came together. Okay, and certainly we'll try not to let that happen again. Another thing I want to mention is that I'm proud to say that the music for this video is produced. It's by my son Joel, my youngest son, who's an up-and-coming musician. So that's something really dear to me and very interesting. I put a link to his work in this video. Another link I'll put, I hadn't talked much about this. I did a very short video about me. It wasn't easy because I don't like to talk about me, as most people probably feel the same. But I think it might be important if you like to see as to why I paint what I paint. You'll have better feedback. It's a brief video. It's like a bio, and we'll explain a little bit how I approach my work. Okay, without any further thing to say, I leave you with the time lapse of painting the Tower of Chochís. That's the first day. I hope you enjoy it, and thank you so much for your patience if you've gotten this far, and I hope to see you soon.